Hello and welcome back to Invincible Asia. I'm George Clark and this is the second episode of my new podcast series, of course kicked off in 2025, and can you believe that we're already into February? It is just disgusting. I mean, where did January go? It vanished. Usually the slowest month of the year, I would say. But this just rocketed by for me, I suppose, on a personal level, because as I mentioned before, I have doubled my workload for the channel here. Although I have to say, I failed to get everything produced that I wanted to set out in the first month, down to stupidly taking a couple of holidays. It's something I really shouldn't have tried to achieve, in knowing that I had probably 2 weeks of the month booked off to go away somewhere. Now, one of these was a weekend in London. I had been invited over by Cine Asia to go and see the UK big screen premiere in the West End of Jackie Chan's Panda Plan, which I was very, very excited about. Now, I get these invites often. I just can't afford to keep flying over from Belfast to London to watch a movie. It's just ridiculous to even attempt to do so on a monthly basis. I wish I could. I just can't. But this one, supposedly Jackie Chan's last action comedy, I was not for missing. And of course, the chance to see my hero on the big screen at any point, I am up for doing. So yes, me and my husband, we went over to London, and of course, not just for the night to watch the movie, but for the whole weekend. So that took some time away from me, in regards to preparing shows for the channel here. Now, I did put out a video soon after we returned of a video review for the movie itself and of the event. And if you haven't had the chance to go back and watch that, I'll run the audio here for you now, just so you hear my thoughts on it while they were fresh. On January 10th, I had the pleasure of being invited to the big screen premiere of Jackie Chan's Panda Plan in London, courtesy of UK distributors Cine Asia. Now, over the past couple of years, I've always had to turn down such invites, as my pockets aren't actually deep enough to fly to London from Belfast every other month in order to watch a movie. But for this one, seemingly Jackie Chan's last ever action comedy, I was determined to make it. So, was the most expensive cinema ticket I've ever bought worth all the bother? Absolutely. It's no secret how much of a die-hard fan I am of Jackie Chan's, my hero for almost 4 decades already, and the man who has been a massive inspiration to me forever. And while a tiny part of me was hoping that Chan the man may just turn up for this big screen event, I still felt that I should not miss this opportunity to attend the celebrations. And I'm really glad that I did. Accompanied by my husband, the evening began with a drinks reception attended by film critics, influencers, martial artists and fans, where games, kung fu demonstrations and photo opportunities took us up to the initial screening, and I could hardly wait. With a great buzz in the air, complimentary goodies and scoring an original poster for the film, I was all set for Panda Plan. Prior to this, I had tried to avoid any and all trailers, write-ups and reviews of the movie, hoping to go in with fresh eyes and no prejudgments of Jackie's latest adventure. And I was pleasantly surprised. The story follows legendary kung fu star Jackie Chan, who has adopted a new panda cub named Hoo Hoo at a famous island-based zoo. But once there, he finds himself embroiled in a battle with a gang of mercenaries who have been hired to steal the baby bear. Along with his crazed agent and Hoo Hoo's dedicated caretaker, the trio do what they can to save the bear and themselves while outsmarting the bad guys in a series of hilarious fight scenes and wild chases. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've laughed as hard at a Jackie Chan movie in the last lot of years than I did at Panda Plan. In fact, the majority of the audience were just as tickled. The film is infectiously silly and genuinely funny at times, crammed with plenty of ridiculous moments that offer laugh after laugh, playing like a live-action cartoon, which suited the whole setup of the movie. And while we've been used to seeing Jackie playing a character called Jackie since the mid to late 1990s, and more so because of the US dubs that came about during his takeover of Hollywood, it was quite refreshing to see him actually play himself. Jackie Chan, the movie star, an actor from Hong Kong who is excited about retiring because he is too old for the game, and I just loved that. We must remember that Jackie is 70 years old here. Most 70-year-old people I know are long retired from their job, half dead, or moving into retirement homes. To see Jackie do what he does in this film is just incredible. There's no stopping the man as much as he wants to. The film opens with an intense and somewhat violent action scene in a church that sees Jackie take on ninjas and gunmen in a flurry of martial arts moves and gunfire. Only after it ends do we learn that it's a scene from his latest movie, but it does get the blood pumping. Thankfully, the action continues after Jackie gets to the zoo, and while not as hard-hitting or intense as the opening fight scene, still gives fans exactly what they came for. But again, it is done so brilliantly as the gang of mercenaries who arrive to steal the panda realize that the movie star Jackie Chan is right there. While two of these guys, who are quite clearly the comedy sidekicks of the show, are die-hard fans of the star, later revealing some very impressive tattoos of their hero, the leading soldier, who is an ex-MMA fighter, is determined to go toe-to-toe with Jackie as a personal challenge in knowing what he can do after watching all his movies. And no matter how hard he tries to make it clear that he is just a 70-year-old actor, Jackie has no luck in convincing the brutal killer that he is not a fighter. Thankfully, for those of us who are watching, the mercenary ignores Jackie's pleas and still attacks, resulting in Chan channeling some of his past film roles in order to muster the moves that will keep him alive and help save the day. While he still visually impresses in action, we also see that Jackie is slowing down. He gets exhausted, he gets tired, he is 70 for God's sake, but he still delivers, and that's what matters. Obviously, if you go into Panda Plan expecting to see the same Jackie from Police Story, Project A, Drunken Master, or even Rush Hour, then of course you're going to be disappointed. And if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. This is the curse of film. We watch so many classic movies of our favourite stars that we lock them in time, expecting them to continue to be this age and have the same energy until their final show. But that is not the case, naturally. If I can do at 70 what Jackie is doing here in Panda Plan, I'll be very, very happy. But even at 48, I'm starting to fall over trying to put my socks on. Respect the man for who he is, and you will enjoy this moment even more so. Of course, aside from Jackie as the main star, there are a ton of extras and co-stars that help fill out the cast with faces from every corner of the world, resulting in a bilingual audio track and struggle in communication between some characters. Saying that, we only got to see the full English dubbed version, which saw a lot of these comedic moments lost with the single language use, and this was really the only disappointment for me. While I get that it may be needed for its Western cinematic outing in the hope to attract a bigger audience, I just find some of the voiceovers to be unsuitable and, at times, very inaudible, which was a shame. Still, my fingers are crossed that we will be offered the original bilingual audio track when it comes to its physical release on DVD and Blu-ray. For me though, Panda Plan was an absolute joy to watch. It's silly but very funny, well directed and shot, packed full of exciting action scenes and great fights, and offers a reason behind the kidnapping of the panda that no one ever saw coming and probably seemed a bit extreme in the grand scheme of things. Regardless, this is one film I look forward to going back to and loved every minute of my experience at its premiere thanks to the guys at CineAsia. Overall, whether it's his last action comedy or not, this pensioner we know as Jackie Chan delivers and impresses with plenty of fun fight action and lots of hilarity in Panda Plan. So there we have it, my full review on Jackie Chan's Panda Plan, a movie I have to say I have watched 3 times since then and still thoroughly enjoy it. Very entertaining, I have to say. But again, you have to understand, as I mentioned throughout that review, what age this guy is. And upon leaving the screening itself and reading other people's reviews, listening to the other guests that were in attendance of this and their comments, it kind of upset me because they just weren't accepting of Jackie for who he is today. I think they forgot that this is a 70-year-old man who should be retired, as most 70-year-olds are, and also just very much negative towards the whole experience in that this wasn't Police Story. This wasn't Project A. Oh, it wasn't Dragons Forever. Get over yourselves. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's just stupid to think that a man of this of this age and legendary status should still have to put himself out to try and give us what he was giving us 30 or 40 years ago. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous to think that. So, if you're a true fan, you will understand that this is where Jackie is at. Jackie doesn't need to be doing what he's doing right now. He has succeeded many times. He has given us, on an entertainment level, so much. I mean, more than the average Hollywood action hero, without a doubt. And we shouldn't have to critique him. I mean, yes, if a film is absolutely and truly shit, I understand that. But, he's just jumping in on the role. And this was a very unique role for me to see him in, playing himself with super fans involved in the movie and, people that recognize him as Jackie Chan, the movie star. It was brilliant in that. And Jackie himself accepting that he is an aging actor, accepting that he is not this massive big action hero in real life, although he then, of course, goes into that. But still, for me, this was a fantastic movie, and I thoroughly recommend that you check that out. But in the right frame of mind, don't be going in there expecting a balls to the wall martial arts extravaganza. It's not happening, and it probably never will happen again with Jackie because he is slowing down, and you can see that. But again, you have to remember what age of a man he is. But yes, I'll not go on too much about it. Saying that, after it came out, of course, we got it about 3 or 4 months after its initial Chinese release, which was back in October of 2024. But we started seeing teaser trailers for Panda Plan 2 kicking about on social media, which is funny, but also, I mean, if you're promoting a movie as Jackie's last action comedy, you got to be sure what's coming up after that. But I didn't believe that when I saw it because, this is something we've heard from Jackie for decades now. This will be my last movie. This will be my last action movie. This will be my last action comedy. We've heard it over and over again. Today, I could understand wholeheartedly if he was to step back, without a doubt. And I wouldn't feel that we've been let down in any way. I would expect him to step back soon before it's too late. But still, to see this wee teaser coming out of Panda Plan 2 starring Jackie Chan just made me giggle. I thought that was hilarious. So I'm looking forward to that. But it is a movie I do recommend that you check out and just enjoy it for what it is. It's so silly. It's not perfect. There is definitely scenes in it that I would love to cut and edit down, and I might just do that on a personal level. But I highly recommend that you check it out. Just don't be expecting 25-year-old Jackie Chan. I also lost a week and a half taking a holiday to Alicante in Spain, where we soaked up the sun. It was bloody glorious and very much well deserved. We flew out actually the day after the big storm hit us here in the UK, and while we had half a roof left, the flights were booked, so we did have to go. Now we're home, we'll worry about all the things that happened. From Spain, then we headed up to Norway, where we froze our balls off and paraded around in about 6 foot of snow. It was like -8. So going from hot sunshine to the freezing cold depths of Norway was quite the experience, but I did just want to surprise my best friend who lived there. But prior to that, though, I did work day and night to shoot, edit, and upload many of the videos that have premiered over the last 10 days of the month. I mean, literally working myself silly to the very last minute that saw me upload my first episode of Deep Impact as we left at 4 a.m. for the airport. It had just finished uploading as we were opening the door to go out. Thank God, because the trouble I had in preparing this first episode, I hadn't slept for 48 hours in the run up to this holiday. I had so many crashes on my computer, so many technical difficulties, let's just say. Let's narrow it down to technical difficulties. So the episode that you have seen of Deep Impact wasn't the first edit. My heart really wasn't in it, but further episodes are going to look much better, trust me. But speaking of Deep Impact, yes, very glad how it's been received. A lot of great comments, a lot of great feedback, and somewhat of a nostalgic journey, not just for me, but for many of us who grew up in the 90s reading Impact magazine, and even into the early 2000s, of course, because it ran for some time. But also, while we were away there and lying on the beach in Spain, the channel did hit its 4,000 subscriber, and I was very, very happy with that. It just lets me see that the work involved in keeping Invincible Asia running and going and preparing new content constantly was worth it. This was just fantastic to reach that level. Thank you so much to everyone, of course. Thank you to all the new subscribers, but thank you to everyone for sticking around and continuing to watch the content that I am making, that I am creating to put out there, because it is great to share it with you and to know that people are watching and enjoying what is being created for you. I keep trying to do something original and unique. I don't want to follow what other channels are doing. I don't want to be inspired by what other channels are doing. I want to create something that's different and unique that others really aren't putting out there. So thank you, yes, once again for helping me reach 4,000. Very excited for that. And also I will be doing on the channel some sort of big giveaway for that as a thank you. So watch the channel over the month of February to see what I'm going to be offering on that. But yes, Deep Impact, great to see. We'll focus on releasing further new episodes of that and other episodes that, as I say, I feel to kind of create due to that sort of shortened time of the month. I will hold some of those back to the second quarter, sort of like the versus episodes, my what if episodes, and maybe some interviews and things like that. I'll keep that for kind of April, May time and kick them off then there. But with Deep Impact, I really wanted to run that with the month of the year that it coincides with. Sort of the January 1994 episode goes out in January 2025, February 94 this month, etc., etc. Just for my own pleasure. Doesn't have to be that way, but I just felt that it would be something to look forward to. And of course, those back issues, if you've watched the episode, I talk about me starting 2 years after its initial release, but with the first episode, or the first issue, sorry, that I picked up, that I bought, which was January 1994. So any other back issues that I do manage to get my hand on between now and then, I will drop as a bonus episode every other month, just to fit in, but not to balls up the run of episodes that I've got coming out there. Now, another big thing that I wanted to talk about was that earlier in January, the news broke of Shout Factory's deal with Golden Princess. I mean, this is epic. I mean, a lot of people are not happy that Shout Factory are the ones that have gotten the deal with Golden Princess. But you know what? I don't care. The fact that they put themselves out, they put the best deal on the table, the fact that they have got the chance now to release some incredible Hong Kong movies to the world is fantastic. We didn't see anyone else do it. We didn't see anyone else succeed, even if they were attempting to do it. The fact that Shout Factory have got that deal behind them is just amazing. And who knows what we're going to expect. There's a lot of mixed thoughts, a lot of mixed reviews, a lot of mixed comments on what Shout Factory have done previously, how they go about releasing titles, and what they've done with the likes of the Shaw Brothers collections, Golden Harvest collections, things like that. So it is going to be interesting to see where they're going to go. But here's what I had to initially say about that deal the week that it broke. Hello and welcome back to Invincible Asia. I'm George Clark, and this is somewhat of a news bulletin because wow, what a week of news for Hong Kong film fans, and this acquisition from Shout Factory in picking up the entire Golden Princess film catalogue. I mean, it's something I just never imagined would happen, but always said this is just what a company, a distribution company that wants to reap the benefits of those greater titles of their catalogue, to just go in there, take everything and do what they can with the movies that they have acquired. 156 titles to be precise. How incredible. I haven't even had my morning tea yet, and this is just something I needed to talk about because how fucking exciting is this? Now, there is that let's say, with Shout Factory, and as much as I have been very, very happy with their box set releases of the Shaw Brothers classics, I mean, they're incredibly beautiful, and now they're starting with the Golden Harvest box sets, which have been okay, I'm not going to lie. I've enjoyed them, but they've just been okay. So they're quantity over quality, let's just say there. Now, I'm really hoping with this investment, bear with me, with this investment that they're really going to focus on looking after the best of these titles. Films like The Killer, Hard Boiled, A Better Tomorrow trilogy, the Chinese Ghost Story trilogy, the Swordsman trilogy, the Big Heat, which I am dying to see put out there, restored, cleaned up and looked after. What else have we got? We have got Peking Opera Blues, Once a Thief, Bullet in the Head. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There's so many there. Of course there are. Not only that, you have the likes of Ringo Lam's Full Contact, City on Fire, Prison on Fire. I mean, it goes on and on, which is incredible. And of course, these films have been available around Asia for a long time. And of course, I have some German releases, Blu-rays and media books, whether or not they're legal, but they're still upgraded. They still have that HD look. They still look fantastic. But the feeling that I have in having these produced to a level that Shout Factory can produce them is very, very exciting. Now, with those 156 titles, there's definitely some there that won't really do them any justice in releasing single Blu-ray versions of these particular movies. So I do reckon that we are going to go down the road of getting a Golden Princess box collection, maybe 1, 2 or 3, 4, 5 of those, because the amount of titles there are there. And we're going to see the likes of, let's say, the Aces Go Places series released as in one of these box sets. RoboForce, I Love Maria put out there, as much as I love that movie, and it is fantastic fun. I don't think if they put it out there as a single release, it may bring them the benefits as The Killer or Hard Boiled would, of course. What else have you got there? You've got the Happy Ghost films, Tiger on the Beat 2, Treasure Hunt with Chow Yun-fat. I mean, so yes, although these films are there in the catalogue, I still feel that that's the direction they may go. They have a bunch of golden titles there, as I mentioned, the John Woos, the Ringo Lams, most of Chow Yun-fat's highest earners, let's just say, as well as Choi Hark and Ching Su Tung's works with Chinese Ghost Story and Swordsman, etc. But yeah, I feel that this is going to be a very exciting time. Us, as in Hong Kong cinema fans, are going to get absolutely broke from spending because we want to get in there. We don't want them to sell out before we have a chance to grab them. Bear with me. You have no idea, I need my tea in the mornings. But yes, so very exciting stuff. I really can't wait, and I do hope that they look after them. But I have a funny feeling that the likes of The Killer, Hard Boiled, Better Tomorrow, etc., they may go down the road of giving us 4K versions of these movies. And I really hope that they do, because if they think about it, and just take a moment, now that they've acquired these, just take a wee moment to think, what is the best approach to releasing these movies? These movies that have been kind of like missing in action for some time. Now, we say that, but I look around me here and the majority of these movies have never really been a problem to get picked up by most of the distribution labels over the years. We have Made in Hong Kong, the videos release label, who put out most of those movies. I mean, the Better Tomorrows, the Full Contacts, the Chinese Ghost Stories, etc, etc, etc. Then we have Dragon Dynasty, that also put out Hard Boiled, The Killer, things like that. We have Eastern Heroes put them out on video. So these have been kind of out there before, and not that long ago really when we think about it. It's only recently that there has been somewhat of a lockdown beyond Asia for the release of these movies, and rightly so, because I now know that Shout Factory know that the fans really want to see these, because this is a hell of a move. This is a big investment, been a massive investment, but I think it's the right one for them. I'm really surprised that a UK distribution company such as Eureka or even Idiot Films, that they didn't just try to do the same thing there. Now, Idiot's probably a bit smaller. Eureka definitely had the power there to move in and perhaps create some sort of deal with Golden Princess. But with Shout Factory doing it, as I say, they do produce good quality physical media. I can't deny that. They just like to fire it out there. So I'm really hoping with this set of movies that they've got here, they just take a wee moment to really think about it and see what is best. But also, not only give us the best restorations of these films, but give us an incredible amount of special features with them. I hark back often to Hong Kong Rescue and the Blu-rays that our soul was putting out there. They were fantastic, and the work that went into them was incredible. It's just unfortunate that the guy didn't have any sort of business ethos, really, and ripped off a lot of people and movies. But still, the work that he put into those was incredible. It's still one of my favourite releases of Hard Boiled on the Hong Kong Rescue label, but I'm really hoping that Shout Factory understand that and take these little bundles of treasure that they've now got to give Hong Kong cinema fans the best of what they have from this Golden Princess catalogue. Anyway, I'm going to go finish my tea. I just wanted to blurt that out and share the news with you if you haven't already heard it. But the internet is nearly broken with everyone screaming for joy that we are finally in the West going to see these incredible movies. So there we have it, my initial thoughts on that deal whenever it was just announced, and some incredible titles to look forward to. Of course, you've the majority of Chow Yun-fat's finest work, the A Better Tomorrow trilogy, the Hard-Boiled, Full Contact with Ringo Lamb, City on Fire, all of those kinds of things, the Aces Go Places series. I have many of these movies, if not all of these movies, in different formats, from video right through to DVD, Blu-ray, and then on to German media book, which may or may not be legit releases, but they're there, they are HD quality, and they look fantastic. So this is the other thing that's really threw me. Although we know that this deal with Golden Princess, a lot of these movies have been released around Asia over the years. I've seen them put out there. Nova Media have released quite a number of these as well on Blu-ray, which is fantastic, and I do have them. But, I look back to a time when a lot of these movies were available. So I have some ex-rentals of when they had their first UK video release, which is great. I mean, classic pieces in my collection. I will never be getting rid of those. But then we've also got the likes of Eastern Heroes and Made in Hong Kong, Hong Kong classics. We got those three video labels that released quite a number of these titles from the Golden Princess Cinema City catalog, so to speak. The Better Tomorrows, the Killer, Hard Boiled, and many, many others. Full Contact, as I said, and so many more. And they've went on. Hong Kong Legends, then started releasing them on DVD, which is fantastic. If you collected those, you will have your first official UK DVD releases of these particular movies. But then they kind of went quiet. Dragon Dynasty got hold of a number of these titles. They pumped them out as well. And that, to be honest, that wasn't too long ago when you think about it. So really, they have been locked up for the better half of, let's say, the Blu-ray 4K era. And I suppose that's where many of the fans are kind of hoping, wanting that Shout Factory are going to give these movies the best possible release. The fact that we're now on this 4K journey, we've got a lot of 4K restorations and 2K restorations on Blu-ray, the likes of the Shout Factory Shaw Brothers releases, Golden Harvest releases, but also from other distributors. And since the news broke more news has come out and rumors are circulating that Shout Factory have got the rights to license these to other labels, to other territories in the West, so they could perhaps give the finest titles to 88 Films, to Eureka, to Arrow, whoever puts these out, whoever's offering to put these out in the best possible way. And each of these labels, if for example, I'm using the UK labels, each of these guys are putting out some incredible Blu-ray releases, but also 4K releases that haven't disappointed, I have to say. Now, I don't know who would do the best job, if I'm being perfectly honest. I would love to have said 88, but they have disappointed recently with so many releases that I fear that that might be the kind of the way they go with getting their hands on any of these classics. I really hope it's not the case, but at the same time, I can't help but feel that their 4K releases of the Jet Li movies, for example, have been disappointing in many respects, and mostly because of the special features, the lack of special features, or less special features than previous Blu-ray releases had given us of that same movie. Eureka always tend to do a fine job, and they're very professional in their approach to it. And Arrow also the same. And you just have to look at the likes of the Shaw scope. I mean, for example, if Arrow got their hands on the Golden Princess collection, you could imagine that we're going to get a set released similar to the Shaw scope, only for Golden Princess, which would be incredibly beautiful. Although I find the Shaw scopes have no order to them specifically, I feel that yes, they would probably be that would be the right direction to take it if you weren't to do single releases. And as I explained in that previous audio video, that many of their titles, because the deal was you take all of the Golden Princess catalog or nothing. What a deal. There's still a lot of stuff there that is going to be highly entertaining, of course. And it's not just those A-list titles that we're all expecting to see and want. There's still a lot of stuff there that to the hardcore Hong Kong fan that we want to see. And it would still be worth Shout Factory's time if they were to put it out in a box set similar to their Shaw Brothers collections. I feel if they do like as with the Golden Harvest movies, if they do a Golden Princess collection of the titles that are lesser known to a wider audience, perhaps the Aces Go Places collection might get a box set release, for example. Although to get them singly released would just be as exciting, of course, to get separate artwork for each of them and so on. But I can understand if they felt that this is a range of movies that needed to go out as a collection, as many of the others. But there is genuinely movies there, mostly from Choi Hark, John Woo, Ringo Lam, etc., and some Johnny To movies that deserve to have their own single releases, whether it's in 4K or just Blu-ray. And I feel that all of them are going to come out in Blu-ray anyway. We're not going to get any less than that. But it is going to be interesting to see which direction they do go, because this is a massive, massive deal. You know, it's worth keeping in mind that something like A Better Tomorrow is going to sell far more units than one of the lesser titles of the Golden Princess catalogue. But what you could do with the lesser titles is do a limited edition run. You don't have to go all out and make thousands and thousands of copies of these movies, but you could license it out, or you could just do your own limited edition run. So yes, there's many options for Shout Factory to go down, but also the fact that they can put these out to other labels is just incredible. Criterion, for example, may get a host of these as well. It's all about the money. Let's be honest. Shout Factory made the deal with Golden Princess, and now it is all about the money. Who is going to offer the best deal? Who wants what title? And who is going to give it the best release here in the West that it has ever had? Now, with that in mind, I want to hark back to the Hong Kong Rescue Blu-ray label. Now, this is an independent, now defunct label because the guy was a bit of an asshole and conned people out of money. But in terms of product, absolutely wholeheartedly delivered some of the finest releases of these Hong Kong classics that I have ever seen. And his hard boiled Blu ray release was probably one of the first for me. Peking Opera Blues, he also released, and wow, I mean, the quality of that movie that he put out there, all the extra features. This is how it should be done. And I feel that Shout Factory or anyone else who's licensing these movies should really take a good, long, hard look at what this guy produced. As much as he does not need that promotion, I have to say. Now, some of these titles are kicking about on eBay for ridiculous prices, but I highly recommend them, I have to say. But you know, you've got the likes of Hard Boiled, Police Story Drunken Master 2, Police Story 3, Drunken Master, Armor of God, Wheels and Meals, Project A, and as I say, Hardboiled, Peking Opera Blues are two of the titles that stick out most. And The Killer, I never did receive from him. He just took my money though. But these are titles that are on the Golden Princess label on the catalogue there. And this is what we're going to see. But for me, they would need to be better than that. Although these weren't official releases, they need to be better than that. They need to have the extra features. They need to have the work put in. They need to have the gorgeous artwork on the cover. There's so much to live up to with these titles. And will Shout Factory do it? Well, absolutely. I think they will. I think they realized, and they've made quite the move. As I said earlier, nobody else made this move. Maybe some tried to make the move for certain titles, but the deal was you take them all or you take nothing. And Shout Factory went with that. And that is enough to let me see that they are serious about this shit. They are going to do what they can to make make their money back, but also in knowing what they have. They have got Hong Kong cinema gold here in their hands, and they are going to do what they can to reap the benefits from that in knowing what the fans want. So I hope they don't let me down in regards to that, though, or not that it affects me in any way, but I do feel they are smart enough to know what they have in their possession right now is a small gold mine in regards to us, the fans of Hong Kong cinema, emptying our wallets to give them what they want for the best possible quality movie release of these classic titles that we want. And as I say, Nova Media have put out some stunning Blu-ray releases of a lot of these. I have the Better Tomorrow trilogy, the Chinese Ghost Story trilogy, City on Fire, many others, many others there. But there was just never enough with it. You know, you'd be lucky if you get a trailer with those. The restorations were lovely, but they weren't perfect. The covers are gorgeous, but it's big money for very little, I have to say. And I do feel that regardless, whatever way they go, Shout Factory are going to give us better Blu-ray releases than Nova Media have even put out there, which is just fantastic. So I'm very excited. I'm sure the work is already underway in preparing these. They've probably already made sales, and I would say it's not going to be too long before we see the likes of 88 or Eureka, Arrow, etc. putting out word that they have just made a deal with Shout Factory for select titles. But I'm very excited for it, and I can't wait for it all to kick off. And while Shout Factory are set to blow our minds with what they have in store in the near future, we are all still waiting for Warner Brothers to pull their fingers out of their asses and release those Hong Kong titles that they've had hidden in the Warner archive for decades now. Just lying there, collecting dust, films like Jet Li's Dragon Fight, Sammo Hung's Pedicab Driver. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's just ridiculous. But then again, after the horrendous Blu-ray releases of both Rumble in the Bronx and Drunken Master 2 by them, I shouldn't really be getting too excited, let's be honest. But then again, we have to hark back to the mid-90s here, when labels like Made in Hong Kong, for example, were releasing those exact titles. Both Blade of Fury and Pedicab Driver were released on the Made in Hong Kong label. And it's crazy to think that in such a short time period that these movies have just now vanished, that they're unreleased, and they are genuine classics of Hong Kong cinema. And this isn't just some like throwaway film archive that needs to be forgotten about. These are movies from directors, from stars, from filmmakers that are praised, critically praised around the world as the best of the best. And yet Warner Brothers still refuse to put them out there. It just blows my mind. I don't get it at all. You know, as I sit here and look around the studio at all these releases, these incredible movies, not everything's perfect, but I still enjoy the most of what is on my shelf. I rarely hang on to a shit movie, but I look at the labels that really helped launch this, you know, the Eastern Heroes, as I mentioned, made in Hong Kong classics. And then you go on to the next sort of form of physical media with the DVDs, and you have your Hong Kong Legends and Dragon Dynasty, and but then you've so many more from around the world. And as we go into that, into the Blu-rays, the 4Ks, the media books, there's so many amazing labels that want to get behind Hong Kong cinema because they see, they know and feel the Vinegar Syndrome, for example, just jumping off the wall, Error 4444, and so many more, Spectrum Films, etc. I could go on and on and on, and of course, Shout Factory. But there's so many of them that realize this is a massive industry of incredible film, of incredible cinema that has been going on for decades. And only recently, in the last few years, are we really getting this influx of Shaw Brothers movies, for example. You know, from every label pretty much. Everyone wants to get their hands on a bit of Shaw now. Eureka's jumped on there now at the end of 2024. But you know, you have the likes of those Shaw Brothers classics from Shout Factory. You have the Shaw Scopes from Arrow. Idiot Films have been pumping them out. And even in Germany, you know, the amount of Shaw Brothers releases across Germany from different distributors has been fabulous. And I have some incredible single releases there, but also German media books of Shaw Brothers collections. So there is quite a lot being pumped out by different distributors in different countries. And that's when it becomes a wee bit tricky to keep up, because then you start doubling up on titles, as I've talked about before, and and then it gets expensive and it gets crazy. But at the same time, it's just amazing to see. Like, there's movies that we go back to from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s that you could watch over and over and over again. Yet there's very few today, maybe in the last 2 decades, let's say, that you really don't rush back to watch again. Saying that, there's still a few there, of course. You have Twilight of the Warriors, Walled In, for example, recently in 2024, that I would watch over and over and have watched over and over again. It's an incredible movie. Films like The Raid and stuff like that. There's a lot that are out there that deserve repeated viewings, but yet it seems to be this catalog of incredible Hong Kong titles from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s that have grasped us, that have attracted us to this particular style of action cinema. And it's surprising still when I look here and catch certain titles, like Naked Killer, for example, jumps out straight away. Moon Warriors. You know, these are movies that really should have had some attention by now by many different distributors. I know certain ones in other countries have been released. I saw when I was in Paris, I saw Moon Warriors released on Blu-ray in Paris. But yet with these particular UK distributors, we're still waiting to see select yet incredibly praised titles from some of the biggest stars even released on Blu-ray. And hopefully it will happen. Now, saying that, I know it takes time to produce these kinds of things, to get them right, to produce the very best and finest versions of these movies. But it's weird that we haven't, for example, here in the UK, we still really haven't delved into the girls with guns subgenre, the Moon Lee and Yukari Oshima classics. I mean, holy shit. Like, Germany are kind of pumping them out slowly but surely. They're getting them out there. But yet, this is something that I thought Idiot Films would absolutely jump on. Angel Enforcers, the Iron Angels movies, Dreaming the Reality, Kickboxer's Tears, Princess Madam. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And yes, while we've had some of those Girls with Guns or femme fatale titles released, such as the In the Line of Duty series and things like that, there are so many more that deserve the attention that deserve and what the fans actually want, what the fans are really waiting for is these kinds of movies. And I've yet to kind of find, apart from maybe Error 4444 that have kind of dabbled in the sort of the lesser side of those. I wouldn't say A movie titles from Hong Kong, but they've definitely went in and to the side and said, "Oh, that looks like a fun title. We'll take that," and pumped it out there. And that's what we want to see more of. Idiot Films have given some of those: Holy Virgin versus the Evil Dead, Blue Jean Monster. Magic Cop, those kinds of things. These are the movies that really excite me, the movies that I really want to see more of. It wouldn't kill them to put out Donnie Yen's Cheetah on Fire, Crystal Hunt. Although I have the Cheetah on Fire Blu-ray release from Shamrock, I would still like to see it get a UK release. But a lot of those kind of earlier Donnie Yen efforts are still highly enjoyable. Earlier Sammo Hung efforts, Yuen Biao movies, things like that. We're still lacking in a lot of incredible movies that when you look back through books, Hong Kong cinema books, Asian cult cinema books, you see a select number of movies that are repeated over and over again for having something worthwhile, for having something incredible that you want to see about it. Movies that used to shock us, movies that used to be like, what the fuck just happened there? Like these are things of titles of Hong Kong cinema that really grabbed your attention. You've got to, we are spoiled today and we stupidly and naively expect so much from these releases. We're all guilty of it, but movies as well. When you watch a movie today, it's so easy for people to just say yay or nay, to diss that movie so easily. But they don't really, the general audience don't take into account what it takes to make a movie. The effort, the energy, the work involved in making a movie. I know because I've done it, but you need to kind of like take a step back, take a moment and think, what was it that really got me hooked on Hong Kong cinema? While today we're quite easy to watch a movie, let's say, take example, Jackie's latest collection of movies, you have the likes of Kung Fu Yoga, Vanguard. They were very quickly dissed and put aside and kind of snubbed, so to speak. But there was a lot of work still went into those, and they were still very entertaining. There were still quite a lot of enjoyable moments, but they were not perfect movies, and I understand that completely. But then you go back to what really hooked us. What was it that really was it? The rawness? Was it the imperfections or the grittiness of these sort of 70s, 80s? I would say more so the 80s for the modern action stuff. Whereas Shaw Brothers really had the reign of the 70s, and then the Golden Harvest, of course, kicked in, and they were producing very high quality productions on both accounts. But come that early 80s, whenever Hong Kong cinema started looking at modern action, and there was a rawness to it, there was something totally different about these, and something so off the wall and crazy and awe-inspiring that really just made you sit up and take notice. Stuff that the West certainly wasn't doing, even though some of them, were inspired by Western productions. But that's fine. You take that inspiration and you crank it up to 11. And that's what Hong Kong cinema was really all about. And what we were seeing back in the day, I hate that saying, but back in the day, what really hooked us was these incredible moments that just seem to happen in a regular movie. And movies as well, that a lot of genre blending movies, which I talked about before. I talked about loving Hong Kong cinema because one movie doesn't mind being a part of 5 different genres. And I love that. It doesn't need to be just a regular straight-laced rom-com. It can be a rom-com with martial arts action, with horror, with a hint of Cat 3. I mean, When I took my first script to Hollywood, and a production company there read it, there was a moment in it that, because even though it was an action comedy, there was a moment in it that was so dark, but on a Stephen Chow level. When you watch From Beijing with Love, for example, I think that was perhaps what inspired me to write this moment in there. There was just a moment of darkness, but that's real life. That's what happens. You can go through life enjoying it, having a laugh, and everything's light and bubbly, and then something really fucking bad happens. And they didn't like that at all. They weren't ready for Hong Kong cinema influences to creep in as fast as they were. This moment that I had written was quite a dark moment, a bloody moment of someone's being shot in the back of the head in the back of a car and the blood flying all over the window, right after a very funny comedic moment, and they wanted that deleted. I fought it. Mind you, I didn't go down the line of selling it to them, even though they offered to buy it. At the same time, I kind of regret that. But still, I was not for taking that out because it was an important moment for me and something, an inspiration that I had taken from Hong Kong cinema. Now, if you watch many of Chow Sing-chi's movies, you see a lot of nods to Hollywood cinema, many, many different scenes of different movies where he has tipped his hat to Hollywood's finest, and that's fine. Those are homages, but yes, you can also see the inspiration through many different films in the East of Western classics and vice versa. Then you start to see many Western movies taking their cues from Eastern classics of Hong Kong cinema, for example. But yeah, I still feel that's a fair thing that both go, each way. But the point I was getting to was, we look back at things like Police Story or Project A or Millionaires Express, Righting Wrongs, things like that. Movies that weren't actually quite perfect, but yet we see them as 5-star quality entertainment. There's something super incredible about them that really, really gripped us. And, I just don't understand. I suppose the point I'm really trying to get to is I don't understand why a lot of these titles that we did get put out on video back in the 90s, we aren't seeing today. They've just kind of they've never surfaced again. And there's a repeat of the same old thing. There's a repeat of the same Jackie Chan movies over and over and over again being released. The same kind of big titles of Hong Kong, and that starts to get a wee bit boring, if I'm being honest, because there's so much more out there. It's not that I don't love those movies. I have them 16 times. I just want to see something completely new and completely different. And that's where the likes of let's say Vinegar Syndrome, Error 4444, etc., come into play, because they are giving us something a wee bit different there. And then even recently, Eureka have surprised us with a few early Hong Kong Golden Harvest classics, which has been fantastic to see. Stuff that the Shaolin Plot and things like that I never expected would ever reach Blu-ray. Future Cops, which blew my mind to see it coming out on Blu-ray and to see it restored in HD, was just incredible. So we are slowly but surely seeing these labels dipping their toe into the other side of Hong Kong cinema, not the mainstream movies, but the other side. But I feel that they still think that maybe playing it safe with a Johnny To or Jackie Chan title, or John Woo or Choi Hark movie is going to be the best option for them. But yet I feel that there's enough of us that really want to see something a wee bit different, or something that hasn't been released already 3 times by other labels, or released in the 90s on one of these video labels. I was really pleased to see the likes of Robotrix getting its release by 88 Films. I always just had that on video from Hong Kong Classics. Loved it. Again, not a perfect movie, but it was great to see it getting put out there. So these kinds of movies I want to see more of. I would love to see things like The Innocent Interloper put out there, Book of Heroes, Sammo Hung's Encounters of the Spooky Kind Part 2, or Spooky Encounters, as it was released by Eastern Heroes back on video. But yeah, I mean, that would be great to see put out there on Blu-ray. We have the first from Eureka. We also have The Dead and the Deadly, which is kind of sometimes seen as Part 3. But this is what I would like to see. These more kind of B titles that have been forgotten about. But anyway, the life of a collector, eh? It's like we always cry that we don't have enough money for these things, but somehow they always end up on the shelf. So as the world falls down around us, of course, we still have some incredible releases throughout February from UK distributors that spring to mind straight away, such as A Certain Killer and A Killer's Key from Arrow Video. You've got Dr. Vampire and Legend of the Eight Samurai from Eureka, which I'm really excited for both of these because I love both movies. They're such great fun. And Legend I've had on video for some time now. I'm really excited to finally see this on Blu-ray and restored. And Idiot Films, perhaps they might stick to their schedule and we'll finally see the 4K release of Jackie Chan's Dragon Fist, which is wonderful. Sex and Zen, the erotic ghost story trilogy, and Lady Assassin, the Shaw Brothers title. Lady Assassin from director Tony Liu, who I just adore. I think he's done some incredible work. I'm very excited for that. But yes, apart from them, there are many other distributors around the world pumping out some great titles there. So it is no doubt going to be another month of crying poverty and emptying the wallets just to get these incredible titles on the shelf. And a nice mixture there of both classic Japanese and Hong Kong titles to enjoy. But anyway, I've blabbered on enough. I didn't really have a focus on much for this podcast. I do apologize. I say I shouldn't have really done this the morning after I got back from my big trip. But still, I will have a lot coming for you on the channel over the course of February and into March. Plenty more to do there. And as I say, by the second quarter, hopefully we'll have everything laid out and ready to run. But thank you very much for listening. Thank you again to everyone for the support on the Invincible Asia YouTube channel and for getting those subscribers up for me. Long may it last, and I will keep pumping out what I can. Yes, this has been another episode of the Invincible Asia podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, enjoy your Kung Fu, and I'll speak to you soon. So thank you once again for watching another video here on Invincible Asia. Don't forget you can check out hundreds of others here on the channel. You can also show your continued support by heading over to my new merch store or by checking out invincibleasia.com, where you can read my full movie reviews and follow me on Instagram @InvincibleAsia. Until next time though, enjoy your Kung Fu and I will see you soon.